Okay, so hello, Mariana. There's nobody else here because Lubomir has a birthday today, and I think they went to celebrate, which is absolutely normal. But being such a wonderful family, they promised to do their homework, to watch the recording, and to take part in our next session. So today, because you don't have a lot of experience working in different companies, large corporations, we're going to talk about this 1 minute manager or 1 minute leader through the eyes of relationships, not strictly business. And did you manage to read the chapter, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Good girl. Right? So what was the first impression when you read this chapter?
I don't know, everything was really terrible.
Why?
Because the person there, he was not normal.
The financial manager, okay.
Yeah, the situation was...
What was
really
abnormal? What do you think? What kind of impressed you, struck you?
Well, instead of doing his job, I don't know, he was doing really strange things about...
Like what?
I'm talking about the cheese.
The cheese and the crackers, okay. Isn't it something normal to have in an office?
Well,
Everybody feels hungry at times, so don't you feel hungry? Don't you have cheese and crackers around you?
yeah, maybe, but I'm not going to use it all the time.
Okay, that's interesting. What about his desk? That was interesting.
Well, it was really a big mess.
A big mess. And this is the head of accounting, a person who is supposed to work with documents, to be organized. What do you think? Do you think that such a disorganized person can do a good job, not only in business, but let's say in normal life? Do you think that people who are very chaotic, very scattered, they can really be effective? What do you think?
Well, I have an experience, so I can say that it's really impossible.
Impossible? Why?
Because when the person is disorganized, he starts to be nervous and wastes lots of time.
Okay. So it makes him or her less effective.
Yeah.
Right. What else?
Well, I cannot say.
Yeah,
more.
I said we're not going to talk so much about business, but let me ask you a very direct question. If you want, you may not answer. Are you quite organized?
Now, yes.
Why now? What do you mean now? Was there some turning point?
Yeah, as a teenager, of course, I was not.
You were not. And can you say that you were less effective?
Not really, because even in the mess, I could find solution.
Yeah, that's my point. Because I am not the most organized person myself. And for a long time, I was feeling very bad about it. Because when you read all these keys and tips and habits of successful people, they're so organized. They are people of order. And that's good. But it doesn't mean that people like us who are not so organized, we will fail because we don't have this system. We know where things are, but only we do. When people look, they see chaos, we see artistic expression. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it could be.
It could be. So I would suggest don't feel bad about it. Because when I went to university, we studied about stereotypes. And for me, it was some kind of revelation. My eyes were open to see that it's horribly wrong to stereotype. But then, after leaving the university and getting into real life, I forgot about that revelation. And I quite often fall into stereotyping myself or others, and I fight it all the time because we have these kind of very crippled messages around us. They give you only one part of the things, and they don't give the balance, because you can have successful people who are not very well organized, but they're very artistic and creative. You can have people who are extremely organized and they're not effective because they are perfectionists. So I would suggest that you don't feel bad about it. Yes, it's good to have some order, but depends on the person. And the other thing, I noticed something, that this person, the 1 minute person, he has been to a lot of seminars, training sessions. He has read a lot of books. What do you think? Why do people read so much and collect so much knowledge?
Yeah, they want to be successful.
Okay.
And
Do you think it's good or bad?
sometimes it's good to make improvisations.
Okay. But in order to improvise, maybe you need to have some knowledge.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So going to seminars, going to university to get the next degree and the next and the next, when is it good and when is it bad? What do you think?
Well, if it's going to be always like that, so the life of the person is going to end. So
Okay, yeah, and they constantly study. They are students all their lives.
yeah.
And is it a bad thing?
Maybe yes and no.
Okay, explain, please.
Yes, because
You know, I'm sorry, this is something that I see a lot in Bulgaria. A lot of people, maybe not today, but at least my generation and about 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was extremely significant to go to university and get a degree. And everybody after school, they went to apply for university. And if they were not admitted, it was incredible disaster. As if the world ends if you don't go to university. And I believe it's very wrong, because not everybody is supposed to get a degree. Yes, you can learn all your life, but not necessarily the formal style. Do you agree with that? I know that you haven't been to university. Does it mean that you are a lesser person than the others?
I'm a person, yeah.
Yes, you are, with or without a degree. And what does the degree help with? What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to give me knowledge.
Knowledge, okay.
A certificate.
Certificate. Has anybody asked for a certificate?
Can you say it again?
Has anybody asked you for a certificate?
No.
No. They haven't asked me either. Maybe just 2 times all my life. When I had to fill in some documents, when I applied for big organizations, stuff like that, but maybe twice for these 50 years. What else? Do you think that education will make a better person?
Yeah, if she uses the knowledge in
How?
the right way.
What do you think? You read a lot of books, I know. You are a person who is very curious and you work on yourself all the time, which is admirable. How do you apply all that knowledge? What do you do?
Oh, I don't know yet, really.
Come on. You cannot just read books or accumulate all this knowledge. You would get crazy. Your head is not the library in Alexandria.
So the characters in the books help me to, I don't know, to create my world.
Okay. Do their actions or their thoughts somehow provoke you to change?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Have you managed to change in different
a little
ways?
bit.
A little bit, that's good. And can you say that there is this danger that people accumulate knowledge because they have very deep deficit? Have you
Maybe.
thought of that?
I don't know.
You don't know. That's fine, because Max, that we're talking about, the 1 minute leader, he tried to show how successful he was. And he spoke of all the books and seminars and everything that he has attended. And he was even applying those things. But what was wrong?
Everything in himself, like maybe emotions
Okay.
and everything that he was trying to hide.
Okay. So there was a hidden part. It was the Hulk part. Okay. Do you think that you can read books and get knowledge and use it in a very wrong way?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure how at the moment.
Really? Well, think of the H bomb or the atom bomb.
Yeah.
People use nuclear power for electricity, but some people use it for bombs. Or you can take a knife and use it for cooking or for killing people. What changes the use?
So oh my, I don't know the motive of the person.
The motive, very good. And how do we change the motives?
Can you repeat?
How do we change the motives?
Oh, well,
This is the $1 million question. Usually, this is the hardest part, because quite often people show their success story. And they say, I went to this training, and I read this book and that book, and here it is. Like Max was showing the image of success, he was absolutely convinced that he's successful. But it didn't take special education to see that it was a lie. He was living in a bubble where he had his own idea, but it was completely out of reality. And unfortunately, I have met a lot of people who are like that. They try to cover up their deficits, their deep issues, with knowledge, good talk, good cliches. But in fact, this is not real. And quite often, I have noticed with me, when I read something or when I go to some training, based on my concepts, based on my mindset, I get the information in a certain way. And then I use it quite often based on the same concepts. And I can learn and learn and learn, but if I don't change some of these concepts, maybe I will use it wrong all my life. So how can we safeguard against that? What do you think? Who can help? when we learn, when we read, who can help us not to get into this gray flow?
Well,
I know these are tough questions, but I know that you're a person who thinks a lot. Come on, be bold and tell me what you think, please. I appreciate it. What do you think?
I'm really primitive person. Anyway.
Well, me too. So let's talk primitively. When you read something and you kind of feel, well, okay, I know something new, but how am I going to use it? Then you create your own idea. Do you feel safe with that it's correct, that it's good? Your new plan.
Usually, if my heart doesn't judge me, so this is something good.
Okay, so you trust your heart, right? What else?
And
do you talk with other people?
Yeah, I do.
Do you share what you have planned based on that new knowledge?
Of course.
Yeah, so what do they say? Yeah, go for it. Or I'd better think about it a bit more.
Well, some of them can say go, some of them, you know.
Yeah, and who do you trust?
Finally, I not really to myself. I trust. Okay, let's say God.
Okay. You trust divine guidance. Okay. You trust your heart. Okay. What about the opinion of other people?
It's important too.
Important. And that's what I believe happens, because when we read next week, we will discuss more about Max and his team. He has some special opinion of people. What's his opinion of people? Did you get that? When he said, can we speak off the record? He shared some things.
Oh, yeah. I think I heard it even twice.
Aha. So were you kind of surprised that he compared people to germs and bacteria? This is some kind of horrible thing that you can't avoid. You need to learn somehow to deal with it, but it's ugly. So what I've noticed, when people have such attitude to others, I can't trust their judgment, because what I have noticed with me, sometimes I fall into such conditions where it's so much against my personality, but it happens. I feel kind of, I need to be alone. I need to hide somewhere, spend time on my own. And I start making those big plans. And then at some point, I start feeling like, those bad characters, bad superheroes in the movies, that they want to conquer the world. Well, not so much, but I start feeling that the very fact that I'm alone, isolated, I don't consult others and I don't talk with others, I am in great danger, because my opinion can be very, very wrong. And I try not to make decisions in such conditions. I try to communicate, I try to check, because I have this favorite saying: if you have a coin that's made of gold, you will have no problem for anyone to try and test it, because it's gold. It will always be gold. But if it is cheap metal and it's only golden on the surface, you will try to protect it at all costs, because you know, or rather you don't know, what's under the surface. And when I become very sensitive to what people tell me, when I become very touchy when they tell me their opinion, I try to hear the bell that's ringing, danger, danger, warning, warning, because this is dangerous ground. And we will talk a lot about it because life is relationships. But I wanted to discuss a little bit today the learning thing, because it's very modern. And in January, we will start with this personal development course that we're going to talk a lot about development, learning, reading, and that's good. That's perfect. But I believe that we should give the balance that it's not learning for the sake of learning. It's not learning for being perfect. It's learning because I need to do better, to apply these things, to try them. And next time we will discuss how you can keep in touch with reality, especially when you learn new things. Okay? Last, could you tell me what you are reading right now? What book are you reading?
Oh, nothing special.
Really? What is not special? I know that you are doing a course now and you're reading technical stuff.
Yeah.
Are you reading any fiction, any poetry or something?
I don't really like poetry.
No?
But,
Why not?
because I have to think about what is used for.
Oh, it makes you think, uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So I like to read novels.
okay. What novel are you reading now?
Of course, my favorite writer, but there's something about gypsies, Arabic countries.
Okay. That's interesting. And who's your favorite writer?
Of course, you know him.
Who?
Of course, Karl May.
Oh, okay. Yes, sorry. You mentioned. How can I forget? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, he used to be my favorite when I was a lot younger. But you know, I haven't read his books for so many years. Maybe I should go back and try. Okay, good. So, my best wishes for a nice evening. Go back to your book, read some of it, and get challenged, because I'm absolutely sure you will not get the idea to get out and ride a horse right in the middle of the night. Or maybe it could be a good idea, I don't know. So thank you for joining and thank you for sharing. I really appreciate. What do you think? We will talk again soon.
Oh,
Until
yeah,
then.
I'll be glad.
Until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.